This video is going to be a little bit different. This is the video of the history of Underwood Plant from 38 years ago when Dad first started to where we are today. I'm the Digger Girl, this is not an episode, this is a special, let's get into it. Right, before I do get into it, I have literally hundreds of old photos to share with you guys, as well as a lot of information on here with Dad. Now Dad, unfortunately, does not like being in camera, but he has given me as much information as he can remember, and over the years I've managed to pick up things from him about regarding his old machines, what he liked the best, what ones he had problems with. So I've got a good knowledge of that now. Lots of photos to share with you guys. It's going to be a little bit different because a lot of it I'll be speaking over and put the photographs there for you guys to see, as well as speaking through what we had. I'm going to do my absolute best. There will be a few things missed, focusing on excavators, lorries, he had tractors, but I'll do my best, okay? 38 years is a long time, never mind the 12 years, 13 years that I've been working with him. But anyway, before we get started, this deserves a holy because it is a lot to get through. If you've never watched my videos before, which I'm hoping I'm going to draw some new followers to this, then holy is something you need to get into. I've been taking it now for about 6 months. I've dropped my energy drinks because the cost of things, they're so expensive. This is fraction of the price, it tastes good, it's got no artificial stuff in it, and the calories are very, very little, which is good if you're keeping an eye on yourself. Not only does it taste good, it makes you feel good. I'm having an energy one just now because I feel like I need so much energy to get through all this information and process it all. But you do get hydration and you do get iced tea. Today I am going to have the Wild Berry Wolf. I love berries. Anything berry is up my street. And this just tastes amazing. It's just like diluting juice. There's no artificial like taste or anything off it or powder or anything. It's just diluting juice, but makes you feel better and better for you. If you want to give Holy a try, there's a discount code DiggerGirl. I'll link it in my bio. Make sure you grab yours. You will not be disappointed. Right, let's get into this. So of course, over time, some things have been missing. There's a few photos that's not been found along the way or whatever. So this is what we're going to start with. His first ever machine was a wheeled JCB/2. I don't have a picture of this exact one, but I've got a picture of the second one, and this is it here. He had these ones while he was working at his previous job, and only about 6 years ago, another contractor who's a lot older than Dad passed these photos on to me when I was at a job, so that was really nice. So this is him with his JCB and a load of hair at this point, may I point out. When he decided to take the plunge and go out on his absolute own by himself at 22 years old, he bought himself this Hymac 58C. He had it for a couple of years and then traded it in for a 58D. Like many of these machines, there's no aircon, he had to wear his skins in them. It was old school. Of course, none of these were brand new at all. He had 22, he had no money, he was starting out on his absolute own. At the same time as he had this Hymac, he also had this tipper AEC, it was ex-military, so you can imagine what that would have been like. I don't know about you guys, but I love looking back in old photos about all the old machinery and how it even used to look, never mind how you used to have to drive it and operate it. He had this 580G case, it was a 4-wheel drive, he said to me. This was just after the JCB wheel loaders. Around the same time, he got this Leyland ex-council lorry as well to move the machines around and to do jobs with as well. He then went on to get a Fiat, which was 11 tonne. In his words, it was a great machine and he had it a very long time. So you can imagine it must have been a good machine if he is still remembering that to this day. At the same time as having the Fiat, he also had a Kubota KH28. Soon after, he traded in his KH28 for a KH151, which he told me earlier on that he had to strip the engine out of it and put a new engine in it in his front garden with one of his pals was there and Cammy as well. So can you imagine doing that at this day and age with all the electrics and tools and everything round about it? Like these days seemed simpler just to take an engine out and put it back in. Obviously I was not there, so I cannot comment fully, but from stories I've heard of everyone, it was so much easier to fix things back in these days rather than what is like nowadays. So then he got rid of the military tipper and he upgraded it with an ex gardener tipper, which was a Leyland tipper. Another thing which I am really, really proud of with Dad, I should have said the whole way through this how proud I am of him from where he started to where we are now. Oh, sorry. What's wrong with me? Let's have 5. Right, I'm back. I'll try not to get emotional again. So, when we were younger, Mum worked full time. She was in the Royal Mail, so she worked Monday to Friday, Saturdays as well. Dad worked Monday to Friday. He would be working all day, then at night times he'd come home and he'd be in the garage, he'd be fixing things, he'd be welding things, he'd be doing God knows what in that garage. I just remember going in and there'd be sparks flying, and that smell of welding is still in the garage to this day when you go in. He'd always be stinking of diesel. I'd always remember Mum complaining about his clothes being smelly and because of diesel and stuff. But not only was he fixing stuff, he actually had this old Seddon accident as well. He had the unit, he had a plant trailer for shifting his machines, and he also went away shifting timber at nights too. So he'd be working all day and then he'd jump in the lorry at night and go away, shift timber as well, and then he'd keep going like that. But that only lasted so long before he realised that he couldn't actually upkeep all that and he was running on empty. So he cut back the timber and he started concentrating on his own business and growing it as well. He kept the low loader for a long time. There's a good few photos floating about of that. There's one which is my absolute favourite, which is the thumbnail of all time. Like, I just love that photo. Most of these jobs that I'm going to be showing you throughout the video as well is jobs that we still go to. There's still estates we still work on. There's still clients we still work for. There's still big companies we still work for. And these are relationships Dad's built up from the very start, but we're still managed to maintain and keep now, which really says a lot about Dad and the company that he's managed to grow. Let's take a little break in between here and go on about this is not going to be some start with one machine, end up with 50 machines, 70 people working for them. That is not us and that's not what we want to be either. We are more than happy than what we've got and what we've worked up to. Along the way, Dad has one employer which I remember when we were kids, Tubby, Andrew Hale. He then came back to work with us in 2015 when I fell pregnant. That was the only employer we ever had on the books all that time. He's an absolute brilliant guy. You could leave him to work on his own. He would work on, he'd jump out, do fencing, he would do ponds, he would be hands-on. And for that, that's a lot more better than just a machine operator. Of course, now we've got Arthur, who's absolutely great as well. We've got Rupert working alongside us too, and we have had Graham, but we don't want to be a big, massive company. We want to keep it small. We get respect off our customers. We're known for doing a good job. And that is one thing, I must say, when I first started working with Dad, that we had some really, really bad fallouts about was because he had been doing things for so long his way, he expected me to think his way when I was 17. It's just not going to happen. Even to this day, there's some things that I'll be doing something, Dad's like, why do you not do it this way? Or if Dad's doing something, I'll be like, why are you not doing this way, this way? And he's like, oh yeah, I could do it that way. So every day is a school day. We say that to each other all the time. There is other ways to doing it, but we had to learn and adjust working together and what worked for us. Safe to say, we've made it. This story's pretty good actually. We're working up the hill. It was absolutely soaking. We were just capping it. It was just a wee quick Argo track. And it was pouring down with rain, so we're digging out good material from the hill to put it on a track with a wee track dumper. The rain was lashing down, it was washing it out at the same time, and Dad was shouting at me about the water on the road, and I'm like, really? Like, I cannot control that. So there's a few F's and whatever thrown at each other. I was like, I'm gone. Walked down the hill, ready to leave. I'm up the hill with his pickup, he came running down after me. I was like, sorry Amy, like, I know it's not your fault, it's raining. So after a few moments like that, then we did manage to gel together, and now there's nothing like that at all. I mean, we'll piss each other off sometimes, but that's allowed. So getting back into it, he had this Samsung, it was a 130 he had. He didn't have it for very long before changing it for a Sumitomo, which unfortunately we don't have any pictures of this at the moment. He had this Liebherr 900B with twin rams he must have added in there. It was 15 tonne and he done quite a lot of quarry work with us over in the Isle of Mull. Of course there'd be other jobs too, but this is what we have the photos of. A Samsung 130, and this is where I vaguely remember memories coming in. He didn't have that for too long, and then he changed it to a Sumitomo. Now, I remember this machine to this day. When we were going through it there, I was like, Dad, what was that machine which was bright, bright yellow? It was just like a distinctive bright out yellow. And I don't know what age, he can't remember exact dates, he'd have to go back through his diaries to get exactly what date he bought the machines. It's all written down, don't you believe it. He had that, and he had a fast track and trailer, dump trailer and trailer. He bought that off Smith's. I still speak to son David Smith now, but the dump trailer's still going strong. I've showed you that in videos before. It is sitting about 30 miles that way at a farm. We use that every year still to muck out the hard standings at a farm. So my memories with Dad in the fast track was jumping in next to him, and it's really cliche because there's that JCB song, drives me around his JCB. That's literally what I was doing at that age. I would have been about that age, sitting in there next to him. Whenever I got the opportunity, I loved going away in the fast track with him. Just absolutely loved it. He had that for a good number of years. It had Simply the Best on it because that's what the Smiths, that was their logo. They had that on their machines, and Dad never took it off theirs, and it was there until the day we left it. And everybody knew who we bought it from because of that logo, which is really nice. Round about the time he got rid of the fast track, he bought a Scania Beavertail 6-wheeler. Now, you would have seen that in my videos because we only got rid of that 2 years ago. And I think I might have showed it in my videos before. It was a V-Reg, it was V353UNH, and don't you bet I remember that number plate. And this is when there's kind of a little bit of turning point in the story, because in 2006 he bought his brand new, first ever brand spanking new Volvo EC140. Between the lorry and that in 2006, this is where it starts turning point, because this is what I learned in. I learned in that 140, I learned to drive in the V353UNH Scania with the L plates on. As soon as I turned 18, for my 18th birthday present, Dad got me insured in a lorry. This is when I started coming into the equation. So when I was 16, I went round every garage in town. I wanted to be a mechanic, that's what I wanted to do. I don't know if it's because I seen my dad fixing things when I was younger, I just wanted to do it. That's what I wanted to do. Never ever thought about being an operator. I don't know if it's because I'd seen my dad fixing things and I thought that's what he'd done. I didn't really have the full picture of him, what he was doing when he was at work. I knew that he was always busy working, but I didn't know what he was doing. So no garage took me on. And hindsight is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So Dad said, you can start working with me until you find something else. Bearing in mind, during school holidays when I was 15, 16, I'd be in the dumper with him, like helping him out, or if he needed a banksman for jobs, I'd be the banks person there helping him. So then I started working with Dad in 2011, and he had the Volvo EC140 here and the lorry. And at the same time he had a Kubota U55. Now I remember that too because it was a white cab, and then this was when another change came because the white cabs changed to blue cabs, the colour they are now on the Kubotas. So that was in 2011. Now these dates are going to become a bit more accurate now because it's when I stepped in, I started helping Dad. I took over all his accounts, his invoices in, invoices out, insurances. This is when I started to take more of a role in the business as well as out operating with him too. He was horrific at invoicing before. Not saying that I am much better because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and I am not great, but I do keep it rolling. Dad's not interested in it, not at all. He's not interested in doing that, speaking to new people, doing invoicing, sitting at a laptop. He can't turn a laptop on. If you send him a WhatsApp message, you get the back off him. He is a typical dad. He just wants to be out in the machines and that's it. Yeah, about 2011, 2012 when I started with him, we started rolling things. We got rid of the U55 Kubota. We had another Kubota at the time, so we had two older ones. We traded them in and got this brand new KX57-4. The day it came brand new, I remember it crisp as clear, where we were working. The driver came in with a low loader, knocked the beacon off, the brand new machine on a low bridge. You'd have seen the low bridge that I'm talking about because it's just in my videos 2 ago. And I remember Dad being absolutely raging because this was his second brand new thing he'd ever bought himself, and the beacon got knocked off it. So he took the beacon off the old machine and put it on a new machine. He was raging. But that was from Young Plant Sales. Dad dealt with him quite a lot. Brian Young down in Doon, which is now Molson's. So yeah, that came from them. And 2011 must have been a good year. I must have got the invoices rolling that little bit because Dad bought his first ever brand new Toyota Hilux 2011 Invincible. The day we went to pick it up down in Stirling, we drove it up the road and he was like, "This is too good for work. I can't use this for work." It had no leather seats. Don't even know if it would have had air conditioning. It was pretty basic, but he said it was too good for work because what he was used to was old Land Rovers, old vans, old Fiat vans, old Discoveries. Everything was all second hand, ex-hydro, you name it. In 2013, we bought this Hitachi 85. Now this was probably one of the worst decisions we made in buying some diggers and plant. The machine itself was good, but it was the most uncomfy machine we have both ever sat on in our life. It was horrifically uncomfy. I just remember the arm pain up here, it's like you're total fighting with it. I mean, Dad had both the exact same problems, so we only kept that for a couple of years, got rid of it for our first KX088-4. And here's a picture of it here. This wasn't brand new, but it only had a few hundred hours on it, if I remember correctly. In 2015, we decided that the Volvo was now 9-year-old, we needed to trade it in. So this is when we went for the Hyundai 140 LC, again from Brian Young at doing plant sales. We bought the Kubota off him, good service. Of course we're going to get the Hyundai off him too. And at this point, this is where you guys are going to know about all the machines and stuff because a lot of them we still have. So you'll be seeing them in my videos anyway. So we had the Hyundai at this point and the Kubota KX57-4. So this was our two new machines, and then the KX80-4, which was a second-hand one. So at this point we had 3 machines, 2 operators. The year later was when I kind of went off on maternity. My daughter was 4 months old. I was back, and don't you believe I was digging right up till my due date. I remember being at this job, archaeologist dig, and the woman was like to me, "When you due?" And I'm like, "Today." So I was still digging away up till my due date and then straight back to work after it. Luckily my mum was there to help out as well, so we could keep the business rolling and keep on going. That was when we employed Tubby back again. I actually approached him. He'd moved back home from Ireland. He was over there doing drilling and mining and stuff. So he came back and he was wanting to settle back at home and he wanted a job, and I was like, we could probably work him pretty good. It's a big risk for Dad though, taking on another person and me who was on maternity and working probably part-time at this stage. But we had to do it because we had so much workload, and I obviously was a brand new mum and needed to focus on everything as well. So that was a really, really decision we made. Really, really good decision. Tubby was there for years again and he was a great asset to the business. In 2019 we got the Takeuchi 290 TB, you guys will be familiar with. We bought that second hand off Cammy, McFarlane and Oban, Argyll engineers. Still great machine, we have it to this day. Here's a photo of it, but you guys would have seen plenty of it by now. This is the stage it started to ramp up a little bit. We started to get the newer machines in and more frequently and more machines, and then Dad would buy more machines, and then he didn't want to get rid of other machines because they were too good to get rid of. So we sold the first 57 to Donald the farmer, and here's a little video of it now. Right now, the job I'm at, he took it over for me to work on while my machine was broken down. So it's still there, and I'm really, really hoping one day I can buy this machine back because it was my first ever brand new machine, and I would love, love, love to bring it back. It is inside. It's a farmer who's got it now, but it's still very tidy considering. It's only done 5,500 hours, and here it is here now. A wee scrape there, nothing too major, and it's just a bit discoloured, but it is 12-year-old. So we loved the 57-4 so much, we sold this one to the farmer. We've known for years, and he wanted one, so we sold it to him, and then we bought a brand new 57-4, another one, which is this one here. 2021 seemed to be quite a big year for us. We got the KX 080-4, we traded that one in, and we got a brand new KX 080-4. So that is actually my machine. That's the machine I am in now with the pink Digger Girl logos on it. You'll be more than familiar with that one because that's in 90% of my videos. Here's a picture of it when we first bought it, and here it is now. 2021 was a massive year for us because that is when we took the absolute plunge and bought the 143 Scania. Now that was all on me, that was me. Give a little bit of the backstory. And a few years prior to that, Dad and me had seen the exact same thing, 143 Beavertail 6-wheeler. We're like, we want that. We couldn't justify it. It's a lot of money for something that's not going to make you money, if that makes sense. We have lorries because it's ease for us for shifting them, but at no point do they make us any money. They make our life easier, but they do not make money. We don't subcontract out to anyone else, we won't do anyone else's stuff. We have a restricted licence, so we can only move our own stuff, and we are more than happy with that. That is enough for us in the haulage industry. So then this 143 came up on Facebook, and I was sitting there one night on Marketplace being like, I want that. Like, this is just meant to be. So I sent Dad a few pictures and he said, oh, that's nice, that's nice. Meanwhile, I was messaging Richard Strong. It was Ray Strong from down in Wales that we got it from. I was messaging saying, asking all the information about it, asking to come see it, speaking to him over the phone. And then I just text Dad saying, I've just bought that 143. And he was like, did you really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, when did we pick it up? And that is generally how it went. So then I went down to Wales without seeing it, picked it up, took it back up the road in the back of a low loader because I didn't want to drive it, didn't know. Although Richard is a brilliant guy, he's been helpful with us throughout getting it, and then obviously with the chassis was bent and stuff like that. He's been really helpful, and I know he's still following the journey now because I see him liking stuff on Nipper's channel when he's restoring it. So that lorry had been up and down to Scotland anyway, so it could run, but it would just be my luck. I bought this new lorry thinking I was cool, doing it like without Dad. I'd never usually do any decisions without him. I'd take it up the road and something would happen to it. So got in the back of a lorry and took it up the road. We only had it a couple of times, and then the chassis got bent right at the back. It had a crack in it originally, passed several MOTs like that, may I add in there. It wasn't sold to us like that. It had passed its MOTs, but it bent even further, and then that's why we're restoring it now. You probably don't know that backstory, but here's a couple of pictures of it when we put a new chassis on it, we're going to put a new body on it, and then we decided, bugger it, let's chop it, let's put it back to a unit, back to original, let's do this properly. As if 2021 wasn't busy enough with all that, I think after the whole COVID thing, we were on an urge to buy something, so we bought another Hitachi. It's a 26, and of course we still have that to this day. That wasn't brand new. That was maybe a couple of years old at the time, a few hundred hours on it as well. But again, cracking machine, we still use it. And a handy one to have to throw in the back of the trailer and go to a wee job if needed. 2022, how are we there already? This was the year we bought the Kobelco SK75. That was from Molson's. We got it straight after Scott Plant 2022. Here's a picture of me and Dad with it brand new. Dad loved this machine. We only heard good things about it, so that's why we went for the Kobelco. Again, we've had no kind of issues with it whatsoever. Dad's on that 90% of the time. 2022 as well, we also got rid of our beloved V353 UNH Scania. That was the one that had the L plates on. That was my baby, I loved it. We actually got it shot blasted and painted back in 2017, and it was looking mint, it was absolutely minted. We didn't really have any issues with it. Dad bought it for very, very cheap because it was at an auction, and there was never anything majorly. 2017 we got it shot blasted and painted. By 2022 it was starting to get kind of rotten underneath. There was cross members going. The more we put it into the garage, they were like, look, this is getting a little bit old from using it as much as you guys use it. So this one came up, the SF09 FLL Scania, what we still have to this day, what we use all the time. You'd have seen plenty of videos of it. That was local, we knew the kind of history of it, so we decided to sell the old Scania and get this new one, which again has had no kind of problems with it, but I was still really, really upset to get rid of the old Scania. It's still local to us, it's only, again, 30 miles that way, so still about the place. But here's a picture of the 143, the old Scania and the new Scania, all at the same place at the same time before we got rid of them. 2023, we then sold this KX57-4 and got a brand new KX60-5, the best machine we have in the fleet to date. And in 2024, where we are now, well, we obviously have our absolutely loved four-wheel tipper that Trucker Tim took up the road for us. That and Dad's new Ford Ranger, what he bought last week, is the two things we bought this year. So as it stands, we still have the Hyundai 140, we still have the Takeuchi 290, we still have the Kubota KX080-4, we still have the Kubota KX60-5, we still have the Hitachi U26, and we still have the Kobelco SK75. So we still have all the machines, we still have our Scania Beavertail, our Scania Tipper, our 143 getting restored, and I'll be swapping out my KX080-4 in the next couple of months for you'll have to wait and see. You like that? Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to put as much information in it as I could. I probably rambled on a little bit and things got a little bit, but like I say, I'm super proud of how far my dad's come. I'm just really grateful that I've managed to jump in with him and work together and build it up to where we are now. Of course, I still get sometimes like it's all daddy's money, but I don't really mind that. Like, he has absolutely grafted and given me the opportunities, and now we're managed to build and grow together, which is a dream come true. So as always guys, thank you for the likes, comments and subscribing. Make sure you come back next week to see me back at normal work. Thanks guys.